Okay, your question, your answer was brief. Yes, caller, please be brief with your response. Very brief. Go ahead, please. You have the floor.
Thank you very much for the floor.
Please, can you switch off your headset, your TV screen?
Yeah, okay. I want to ask Mr. Nash, is he now actually confirming to us that the international community or the United Nations or whosoever is concerned, they are all liars and they cannot attest to the truth? Because he is saying that if it is in the 1961, it will not work. So is he confirming to us that the world has become liars and cannot tell the truth? That's one. Number two, I want to find out from him. He has
one question.
Just he has requested for one question. So he has requested for one question, please. Yeah, Mr. Nash, respond to that, please.
Yeah, hey guys, you have to remember I'm 74 years old. I can only remember one question at a time. No,
yes, go ahead.
Seriously,
go ahead.
Seriously, on the liars. No, you know, civilization moves on, history moves on, events move on. The events of today have nothing to do with the events of yesterday. So no, I wouldn't say that it's liars, because people in 1961 may decide something, but by 2023 that looked at totally different. So, you know, that's why I'm saying that, you know, we discuss history, go on and on and on, write letters back and forth, but the key is to look at today and how can Southern Cameroonians gain their full rights today in 2023, not in 1961.
That's amazing. I'm taking another caller. We have a caller here. Yes, hello, caller. Go right ahead, please.
Yeah, this caller is calling from United Kingdom. I just want to thank you for bringing Mr. Nash. I want to quickly ask Mr. Nash, if Cameroon cannot, or international community cannot ask Cameroon to come to the table for negotiations, say it will take 20 years, how do you think telling La Republique to Cameroon to go for a referendum to South Cameroon, they will come to the table or they will do that? And how sure do you expect Cameroon to bring out results that is acceptable to South Cameroonians? Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Nash.
I didn't get the full gist of that. Some of the words were missing. What did you
say? Actually, she was trying to find out if the international community cannot do anything, how will they be asking Cameroon for even a referendum? What mechanism would they use to ask for a referendum if they can't ask for a negotiated settlement?
You know, that brings back one of the main points I wanted to mention, which you have not brought up, and I'm glad she did. Because the referendum, as I said, is a mechanism, and the only way mechanism can be effective is if the Cameroonian community, the diaspora community, shows any kind of unity at all. If you have some members of the community who are pushing one mechanism, other members another mechanism, they will never be taken seriously. At the meeting we had yesterday, we had some of the members of congressional staff there, and they said that it is very difficult for them to pay attention to the Southern Cameroonian community as long as different delegations show up with different mechanisms and different resolutions. So it is essential to have some point of unity within the entire community, even if they disagree on, you know, who should be the Minister of Fisheries in the interim government. They have to have some form of unity. I get extremely frustrated when I hear from the Cameroonian community that they are waiting for the international community to solve the problem. And I keep telling people the brutal truth is that the international community is not going to solve the problem.
Well, I guess the message is now settling down among most Amazonians, because we see what is going on in Ukraine.
So, who in the international community are you going to convince that the work of decolonizing Southern Cameroon was not completed? Who? So I argued that based on that, it is futile to say that you are going to pursue independence by diplomacy. And when Julius Ayuk-Tabe and others started flying around here, acting like head of state already, you see him arrive at the airport in Washington or New York with a contingent of bodyguards and drivers and all of that to say diplomatic offensive. I just laughed. I laughed. This was a show. He wasn't going to lead anywhere. You know? So that part of independence by diplomacy, I argued, and I still argue, was a no-go. It wouldn't lead anywhere. Therefore, if you insist that you have to get independence, know that because that involves breaking up an existing country called Cameroon, the rest of Cameroon is not going to allow you to go to walk out just like that. You come and say, oh, okay, look, after you guys have been trying to assimilate us, we're tired of this, we're walking out. They wouldn't let you go. You know, they will resist, and if they resist, then remember, know then that independence can only be by war.
This will be an opportunity for you to call and make your contributions. There are a lot of people that want to do that, so when you call, endeavor to be brief. Yeah, go right ahead, please, your life.
Thank you, Mr. Parit King. This is Pastor Victor again. The reason why I call back is because I discovered that there are so many things Mr. Tibor Nagy has spoken that we need to clarify Amazonians in the home front to know that since Mr. Tibor Nagy is a personal human being, he has spoken his personal opinions, and we should not be grieved, or people should not feel bad among some of the things that he has said, because some of the answers have not been very, very truthful. I cannot ask him about Resolution 1608, which is the resolution that gave us our independence, 64 vote to vote for our Ambazonian independence. He said there's nothing like that. Okay, my question I was going to follow up with that is that if America wakes up today and invade Mexico, would they not go back to history to say that no, you have your independence so and so time? This is
Pastor Victor, just a moment, please. Pastor Victor, you know, a moment, please. This is one thing I want us to know. He said his opinions are not standard. He's just making, and then he made assertions like that is not how the international community works, and which we do not agree. If the international community is working in a particular way, I'm just enforcing what you're saying. If the international community is working in a particular way and it's not working, it is based on the way that the international community is working that La République du Cameroun assumes in their mind that they will force a people and own them. So it's what he's trying to say. He contradicted himself, and he knew at one time that he did not have answers to what he was saying. And he said we can win a debate, which is an acknowledgement of the fact that we are right in our argument, but should I say, but the dishonesty is too much that we will not be able to have a lead. So you can go ahead, please. Ambazonians, get ready to call. We have about 15 more minutes to receive some calls. After that, we'll take some reports, and that's it.
Another thing that, even though when they ask you that question, what is it that we want now? I know you answered, I can't quite remember your answer, but if you have such a question again next time, tell them that the same United Nations that gave us a plebiscite should come and conduct another one for us to, for them to know whether are we happy.
That was the last question I was going to ask him, but he didn't have the time.
Right. Otherwise, he cannot just, what we want now is, if you are not convinced that there is a union, that there's no union with La République, as we are saying, which they don't have no legal documents, then come and conduct another plebiscite with us. Let us tell you whether we are happy being with La République or not. Because what they are simply doing here, and what his response can throw people into anarchy. Because when you tell people that there's no international identity. People should not, they don't walk by that. They don't walk by what? It is the same history, it is the same international boundaries, it is the same United Nations votes that created nations that people are respecting till today. If Britain rise up today and say they are taking back America because they don't respect the United Nations resolutions that voted for America's independence, how does that throw the world? It throws the world into anarchy or fighting. So I think sometimes you really need to judge the world.
Yes, sir. Let me take the next caller. Let me take the next caller and get the reaction. Yeah. Amazonians, you can call. We have some time for it. Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, caller, go right ahead.
Greetings, Director Paddy. Thank you so much for taking my call. This is Dr. Emmanuel Tita. I just watched fully the interview with former Ambassador Tibor Nagy. In line with what Pastor Victor was just talking about, we need to make things very clear to our people. We're not going to keep accepting lies. And people come and be telling us false stories all the time and say, oh, we should just accept it like that. We will not accept it. In line with what Pastor Victor was just saying, that the ambassador said that there was no international community. Yes, there was an international community. We all saw the international community came together during COVID-19. There was lockdown in the whole world. They connected everything in the whole world. There is an international community. Our people he cannot come here and tell us that we should forget about the history. There was incomplete decolonization in our territory. The United Nations needs to come back and complete that decolonization process and request for Cameroon to withdraw its military and its colonial administrators out of the territory of Southern Cameroon. Yes, we will not going to be taking these lies. They come and forcefully want us to accept false information that, oh, it will take you years. Oh, the Amazonian diaspora community is not united. That is a lie. We are fully united under this struggle for Cameroon to withdraw its military and its colonial administrators out of Amazonia. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is a caller from the home front. Where are you calling from the home front, my brother? Bui County, okay. Go ahead.
So for him to come on social media and make such an offensive statement that the international community doesn't care, that's terrible. He's openly telling us that the international community is just a toothless dog. People should be going on and killing each other for nothing. So I don't like the kind of responses he gave.
Yeah, this somebody calling from the home front in Bui that's reacting. Mr. Nach would definitely get your feedback. Yes, let me get the next caller.
Let's not think that the solution to this problem is going to come from outside. Not from the United Nations, not from the AU, not from Washington, not from Paris, not from London. We Cameroonians have to get our acts together, come up with a blueprint of what we want. If we're all rally around it, then we can use that to take towards the UN and say, this is what we, the Cameroonian people, want. Or if you like, we, the Southern Cameroonians, want on this particular issue. And when they see that what we are proposing is reasonable and something that they can support, then they will throw their weight behind it. They are not going to be the ones to come and define the solution for us. And I said at that conference that from that perspective, separation is out of the question.
Won't you think that it should be the place of the international community to say, okay, some Cameroonians, they say they want independence, and some say they want a one and indivisible country. Why not say, let's give them a referendum, let them decide? How do you think about that, sir?
In reality, we have to come to peace in the first place and then start a constitutional process in Cameroon or something like that. I mean, this is not a solution which comes from outside. This is the Cameroonian people have to decide, and the local people have to decide how they want to live and what constitution they want to have in the future. So, and there's a saying, African problems should have African solutions. And sometimes I think, what is the role of African Union? What is the role of ECOWAS in this Cameroon conflict? I'm not quite sure about that. I don't know too much about it, but maybe you can give me some information on that.
I get extremely frustrated when I hear from the Cameroonian community that they are waiting for the international community to solve the problem. And I keep telling people the brutal truth is that the international community is not going to solve the problem.
Well, I guess the message is now settling down amongst most Amazonians because we see what is going on in Ukraine.
The Biafran War was resolved in Nigeria because it was about Nigeria. The Cameroonian crisis should be resolved in Cameroon because it's a Cameroonian crisis. But let me say this.
Let's not think that the solution to this problem is going to come from outside. Not from the United Nations, not from the AU, not from Washington, not from Paris, not from London. We Cameroonians have to get our acts together.
May I say that what I understand about British politicians is that they do not care about your history. They're not interested. They don't want to hear people from Amazonia talking about what happened in 1960 and 1961. They're not interested.
Why do you think they're not interested?
I know they're not interested because I'm British and I mix with politicians all the time.
Right. Do you see any motivation, any particular motivation behind their action?
No, it is very important that you hear what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
They are not interested in your history. They are not interested in listening to people from your country getting very angry. And every time that one of your politicians gets extremely angry with the British, it is self-defeating. You are not going to win their sympathy. What you need to do is talk about today and the future, because they are simply not interested. You are wasting your breath if you talk about the history of 1961, because they don't want to know. It embarrasses them.
Is this because they were part of it and they failed in that assignment? Could that be the reason?
It's also, yes, part of the reason, but also the British are not interested in their colonial history because it is embarrassing to them.
Wow, that is quite revealing. That is quite very, very revealing. Now,
let's not think that the solution to this problem is going to come from outside. Not from the United Nations, not from the AU, not from Washington, not from Paris, not from London. We Cameroonians have to get our acts together, come up with a blueprint of what we want. If we all rally around it, then we can use that to take towards the UN and say, this is what we, the Cameroonian people, want. Or if you like, we, the Southern Cameroonians, want on this particular issue. And when they see that what we are proposing is reasonable and something that they can support, then they will throw their weight behind it. They are not going to be the ones to come and define the solution for us. And I said at that conference that from that perspective, separation is out of the question. Because for you to have separation and independence, there are only two pathways. One is diplomatic. In other words, you convince the countries of the world and the UN to support you. But I reminded my compatriots at that conference that it is through the UN that it's under the auspices of the UN that our people voted on the 11th of February to achieve independence by joining the Republic. It is under the auspices of the UN that the post-reunification, the post-plebiscite conferences were held leading up to October 1st, 1961. And all this while, the UN has taken cognizance of the fact that since 1st of October 1961, the former British administered UN Trust Territory of Southern Cameroons ceased to have that status. And by the way, the trusteeship agreement between United Nations and the United Kingdom over this territory that was signed in 1946 or 1947 ended. That's an agreement between the UK and the UN for the administration of SC, Southern Cameroons. It ended once Southern Cameroons opted to achieve independence by joining La République. So, who in the international community are you going to convince that the work of decolonizing Southern Cameroons was not completed? Who? So I argued that based on that, it is futile to say that you are going to pursue independence by diplomacy. And when Julius Ayuk-Tabe and others started flying around here, acting like head of state already, you see him arrive at the airport in Washington or New York with a cortege of bodyguards and drivers and all of that to say a diplomatic offensive. I just laughed. I laughed. This was a show. He wasn't going to lead anywhere. You know? So that part of independence and diplomacy, I argued, and I still argue, was a no-go. It wouldn't lead anywhere. Therefore, if you insist that you have to get independence, know that because that involves breaking up an existing country called Cameroon, the rest of Cameroon is not going to allow you to go to walk out just like that. You come and say, oh, okay, look, after you guys have been trying to assimilate us, we're tired of this, we're walking out. They wouldn't let you go. You know, they will resist, and if they resist, then know then that independence can only be by war. But if you elect that path, then remember that war has its consequences. And I'm talking as someone who, in my UN career, worked in many conflicts and post-conflict countries. I saw it with my own eyes, what devastation war can cause. And I would have preferred to save my own country and every part of it such an experience. And that's what I tried to do from 2017.